Rahul Gandhi is on yet another grand intellectual expedition, this time to Latin America. Yes, Medellin, the city in Colombia, better known for Netflix drug lords than nuanced debates on Indian democracy, now has Rahul explaining how India's democratic lights are flickering. It is always nice to see Rahul Gandhi chase ideas and deliver lofty lectures to a hall full of young digital native engineers and doctors about AI and the death of democracy on the other side of the world. But there is an election back home, isn't there? One that probably deserves Rahul Gandhi's attention a little more than persuading Colombian students about India's fault lines. The BJP does not even need to set traps for Rahul Gandhi anymore. He happily walks into them. It has spent years branding him as a foreign trip obsessed, self-indulgent philosopher who prefers conference halls abroad to the dust and heat of Indian politics. He was on vacation in Malaysia just weeks ago, reports tell us. Now he's on the other side of the planet, leaving the Congress foot soldiers to fight alone just when the Bihar SIR lists have dropped and his vote chori crusade could have used its general on the ground. Well, this jet-setting campaign, which, by the way, also includes Sam Pitroda, who just days ago said he feels at home in Pakistan, this jet-setting campaign to paint India as a black hole of democratic values is manna from heaven for Rahul's critics, mainly the BJP, because it reinforces every caricature they have built of him. And it forces an even bigger question. Let's remember that Rahul Gandhi isn't just a Congress MP, he's leader of the opposition, not just the Congress party, the opposition. So this is not just about winning or losing. It is about whether Rahul Gandhi still cares what his party thinks as it fights for political survival, while he chases applause in distant, sunny Colombia.
The single biggest risk is the attack on democracy that is taking place in India. Because India has multiple religions, multiple traditions, multiple languages, and India actually is a conversation between all its people. And different traditions, different religions, different ideas require space.
And what's interesting about all of this is that this is not even new. There is nothing even uniquely fresh about what Rahul Gandhi has said, except that the country has changed this time. Just take a look at some of the recent examples. In May 2022, London was the battlefield where Rahul Gandhi went there and famously said, India's voice has been crushed. Just a year later, in March 2023, he was once again back in the United Kingdom, this time in Cambridge, where he said institutional frameworks required for a democracy were getting constrained. We are facing an attack on basic structure of Indian democracy. He also famously said opposition leaders are locked up just for standing outside Parliament. That same month, he also traveled to another destination in the UK where he said Europe and the US are not doing enough to restore democracy in India. That one line sparked a huge political fire back home because it seemed like Rahul Gandhi was egging on Western powers to intervene in Indian politics. He also said the US and Europe must intervene in India. The West must expose the reality of India, said Rahul Gandhi, perhaps not conscious of the weight of his words. Remember, he was not leader of the opposition at that time. But in September 2024, in Virginia in the US, he said the fight is whether a Sikh will be allowed to wear a turban and a kada and then go to the Gurudwara. This is after he became leader of the opposition. September 2024, in Washington, D.C., Congress will think of scrapping of reservations when India is fair, is what he said. That had a huge backlash against him, and the BJP made a big meal of it. April 2025, just earlier this year, in Boston, he said the Election Commission of India is compromised. October 2025, in Colombia now, he says democracy in India is under attack from all sides. So the general theme of what Rahul Gandhi says on these trips abroad is largely the same. Democracy is under attack, democratic institutions have been assaulted by the Modi government, and that the West is not doing enough about it. The latest platform for this, as I said now, is Colombia. Joining me live now to talk about this, because remember, a few things have changed, as you saw in that timeline that I brought before you. One, of course, is that Rahul Gandhi, for over a year now, has been leader of the opposition. So he isn't just a Congress MP. He holds the very important constitutional position of being India's leader of the opposition, the world's largest democracy. Remember that. Anand Ranganathan, scientist, author, commentator, is with us. Vivek Bansal is a leader of the Congress. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for being with me. Happy Dashara, first of all, to both Anand and Vivek, and for your time tonight on India Matters. Anand, quick reminder to you and to all of our viewers about the highlights of what Rahul Gandhi has said. One, he said, single biggest risk is this attack on democracy. He says whole-scale attack on the democratic system. Elsewhere in that interaction, he says, we are not manufacturing, we are not producing. All of these are very easily refutable statements that Rahul Gandhi has continuously been making for the last few years. So my first question, Anand, to you is, Rahul Gandhi, in a very familiar manner, paints this picture of India where democracy is dying. How do you read it? Do you see it as, a philosophical pursuit? Do you see something insidious in it, as the BJP would like us to think? Do you think Rahul is just more comfortable outside because, things are so frustrating politically for him here in India? How do you read it, Anand?
Good evening, Shiv, and good evening to my fellow panelist, Mr. Bansal, and wishing everyone a very happy Dashera. Shiv, there is a thin line between truth and lies, between fact and fiction, and I'm afraid Rahul Gandhi has snorted it. Perhaps fitting that he has done so being in Colombia. But three things are constant in an Indian's life. The fact that he has to pay tax till his undergarments are shredded finer than a paper shredder can. The fact that wittingly or unwittingly he ends up walking on Waqf land, and the fact that every single waking day he is exposed to industrial scale lies of Rahul Gandhi. I have said this before, let me repeat. Making sense of Rahul is as easy as consuming rasam with chopsticks. I have exposed his lies on dozens of occasions, especially on this death of democracy, killing of constitution. But today's dish is special. I want to focus on that. He's talked of something else. Let me explain. Rahul has today spoken of decentralization because he's spoken of corruption and how it has become so endemic in India because of Modi and how he's fighting it tooth and nail. Really? Let me expose him right there with three brief examples, and I challenge Mr. Bansal to rebut them. Number one, Rahul keeps on bleating like a broken record that Adani is corrupt. If that is the case, then why was it that the erstwhile Congress-ruled states of Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan were invested in Adani companies to the tune of 1 lakh crores? Mines, power plants, airports, you name it. Rahul's allies are right now investing billions in Adani to make ports, for example, in Kerala. So, simple question is, how can you and your friends call someone corrupt and at the same time give him projects worth billions of dollars? Number two, Rahul said anonymous electoral bonds were independent India's biggest scam. I agree. But then explain, why is it that his party took thousands of crores through the same anonymous electoral bonds? And number three, in 2015, the High Court convicted the BJP for FCRA violations. I repeat, convicted. And what happened? The BJP simply amended the FCRA Act in the parliament retrospectively, took it back to the emergency era, and the crime was annulled. The courts couldn't do a thing. Is this not corruption? Yes, it is. But then why didn't Rahul protest? Why didn't Congress block the roads or suspend the parliament? You know why? Because the High Court had also convicted the Congress of the same crime. And the BJP could amend the FCRA Act annulling the conviction with Rahul's support. Look, Shiv, if an organization gives money to a political party, does it expect some leverage in return? The answer is yes. The biggest election interference in Indian history was perpetrated with full support and partaking of the Congress. The anonymous electoral bonds and the amendment of the FCRA Act that allowed foreign companies to give billions to Indian political parties anonymously. That was the biggest betrayal of the Indian voter. And Rahul and Congress never returned the money to these companies. And it was not a foreign hand that did it. It was an Indian hand. And that is why, way more dangerous as it was done in secret, unlike a spurious paid for news report or ad that you can read and rebut, Rahul Gandhi wants transparency on party funding, but wanted to keep opaque as to who gave Congress money through electoral bonds. Why? If a foreign mining company gave billions to the BJP, Congress would be up in arms, right? But a foreign company did give billions to the BJP, and yet the Congress was silent. Why? because that same mining company also gave billions to the Congress, and both BJP and Congress joined hands in amending the FCRA Act to escape conviction. Was that not interfering in inter-elections? Was that not a living, breathing embodiment of corruption? So this is a new canard that Rahul is spreading abroad about corruption, and here I would urge Mr. Bansal to rebut me.
Vivek Bansal, you've heard what Anand has said. I don't need to summarize it. He says it's a canard being spread. Canard being spread by Rahul Gandhi. It's his favorite allegation. Yes, respond.
No. Let me just put it very straight. That as far as Mr. Adani's issue is concerned, what Rahul Gandhi's allegation and objection is, the way crony capitalism is taking place, the way he is being capitalized, he's being patronized by this ruling dispensation. And secondly, the gap which everybody is talking about GDP growth and all that, but the disparity which is at the moment existing in the country, is it adequate justice to the majority of the people who are just barely touching or exceeding the poverty line? That is the main issue at the moment when he objects to Adani and Ambani basically. And corruption is definitely, I would say that definitely he raised up the issue. And as far as at that point of time, he was not leader of the opposition, and party was not in such large numbers as it is now. So we could not, our voice could be, just lost in the din by the ruling party members by just brute majority. But at the moment, he's raising up issues because he's leader of the opposition, his voice is being heard, and as far as raising this issue abroad is concerned, he's addressing, you see, it's not a question of abroad or now things are global. Whatever he says here also tends to get amplified there abroad as well. And Indian diaspora is there he's addressing them and he's raising the issues. Because they are also voters now with the new election laws and all, they are voters of this country. So why object on that? And Rahul Gandhi is raising, and let me tell you, as far as constitution and undemocratic,
I'm coming to that. Vivek ji, I'm coming to the democratic part of it in my second question. I'm just hold on to that thought. I want to end the loop on the corruption issue. Anand, are you satisfied with that rebuttal, or you want to add to that?
No, I'm not, because with due respect to the erudite, my good friend Bansal ji, he's all over the place. He's not answered the three basic questions. And by the way, when he talks about inequality, let me give him the facts. The Gini coefficient, which is a marker for inequality, has been the lowest since records began as far as India is concerned, 0.29. In 2014, it was 0.4. So inequality has decreased, but be that as it may, you can have opinions on that. But the fact of the matter is, the three questions I asked was, simple question to Vinay Bansal ji. You claim that a lawyer is intensely corrupt, his law firm is corrupt. Would you keep on hiring that lawyer and that law firm? Logic says no. Then please tell me, why did you keep on investing to the tune of 1 lakh crore in Adani companies? It's a simple yes or no question.
We have not got a satisfactory answer to that so far.
No, I haven't. And the second more important question is, when Congress said that anonymous electoral bonds were the biggest scam, why has it not returned the 1,600 crores that it got from anonymous electoral bonds? If it believes that was scam-tainted money, return it. And the third question is, when BJP was convicted of corruption, why did the Congress support it in amending the act that convicted the BJP? These were three direct questions.
I again say, at that point of time, we did not have the numbers to heckle the government. At that time, at that point of time, we were in a minuscule. The numbers were minuscule.
You voted for the amendment,
and they used to bulldoze our voice.
It was not even a question of the numbers.
Now, just by
you voted for the amendment, sir. That's the point.
Tables have turned. At least our. Sir, let me know. We didn't vote. We had walked out of that. And even if we had voted, we couldn't have done much. But today, if we do something, today we have a sizable number, and Rahul Gandhi has by inherent right to speak on things.
Vivek ji, let me come to the second issue. You made a point. You made a point of the corruption issue, Anand and Vivek. Let me come to the second issue, which is, one that Rahul Gandhi has with great regularity raised on every single speech and every single trip, which is how democracy is dying. There is a all-round attack on our democratic institutions, and democracy is a black hole. That's been a running theme since about 2021, 2022. Every single speech, and I actually did the research on this, reflects this one theme in one way or the other. So Vivek ji, again I ask you, if Indian democracy is under such a grave threat, how is it that Rahul Gandhi can travel the world openly criticizing the government, without any consequences? He is, after all, the leader of the opposition, sir. He says this at least 12 times a year in different parts of the world.
You see, democracy doesn't mean that complete democracy has been thwarted or all the democratic norms have been. What basically he means to say, in the present day democratic scenario, they are trying to bulldoze the voice of the opposition. Whosoever raises a voice, either CBI or ED is used against him, and so noose is tightened around him, and they see to it, they ensure it that his voice is, he doesn't raise a voice, whosoever it is. So that is basically, and the way the election machinery has been used, and the way he unraveled everything with logic and with all concrete proofs, that in itself reflects that the election commission, which is one of the main pillars of democracy as far as casting of the voting rights is concerned, he proved that they were hand in glove with the ruling dispensation, and so many people either they were deprived of their voting rights.
On the death of democracy theme that Rahul Gandhi has revived once again in Colombia, Anand, what do you say to that? Because I listened to the speech a couple of times, hoping that there would be something new or a fresh layer to what he's saying. It's the same thing. Democratic institutions are under attack. It is collapsing. The West is not doing anything about it. That's basically it.
No, look, this is not about his forecast.
No, he never said that West is not doing anything about it.
Earlier speech. That was the earlier speech, 2023.
He never asked them to intervene in that.
That was 2023, sir. 2023, that was in the UK. You're right. Anand.
Yes. No, look, Shiv, this is not about Rahul Gandhi's faux pas that honestly arrive as frequently as your unwanted relatives. This is about destroying the same democracy by the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi that he claims he's going to save. Let me give you some facts. When does democracy die? Democracy dies when a citizen's freedom of speech and expression is brutally curtailed and stomped upon. And that is what Jawaharlal Nehru did through his first amendment to our constitution. Following him, dozens of books and films were banned, historians and editors were jailed. When does democracy die? When the president and the judiciary is forced to curtail the fundamental rights of the citizen. And that is what Indira Gandhi did through the emergency, following which tens of thousands of Indians were jailed and killed and sterilized, and constitution's body and soul and preamble altered with gay abandon. When does democracy die? When a Supreme Court's considered verdict is overturned with impunity. When the citizen's right to privacy is snatched away. And that is what Rajiv Gandhi did through the Postal Act and through overturning the Shah Banu judgment, ushering in an era of blatant appeasement.
Vivek ji, I'll come to you. I'll give you the last word. Let Anand finish.
When does democracy die? When tens of thousands of activists are arrested and charged with sedition and called anti-national, when the election commission is severely compromised, which is what Sonia Gandhi did, when under her proxy rule 8,000 activists were charged with sedition in a single day, when Naveen Chawla, despite the Shah Commission charging him with committing atrocities during the emergency, deeming him unfit for office, was appointed the chief election commissioner, ignoring the cries of the CE that Chawla was spying for the Congress and passing on sensitive information. Finally, when does democracy die? When the FCRA Act is retrospectively amended, rendering the High Court conviction of political parties like the BJP and the Congress toothless, which is what happened under Rahul Gandhi, when the High Court conviction of Congress and the BJP was rendered useless through a parliamentary amendment brought in by the BJP, supported by the Congress. So Shiv, Nehru, Indira, Rajiv, Sonia, Rahul.
Not at all supported by the Congress.
Who have made sure our democracy is dead. On the other hand, just 10 seconds. How has Modi killed the democracy? Give me one example, just one, that hasn't either been ratified by the Supreme Court or indeed by the opposition itself, like the 370 abrogation or the overturning the Supreme Court SC/ST Act. But as I said, facts don't matter to Rahul.
Last 60 seconds, Vivek ji, go ahead. Many questions Anand has asked. Would you like to address any of them? Last word to you.
When a friend says that when the democratic norms have been thrown to the winds, the most glaring example is the way Honorable Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar had been shown the door after independence. This is for the first time the way summarily the Vice President had been dismissed for no apparently very strong act of omission. I fail to understand that. Doesn't speak the autocratic manner of conducting himself, the government conducting himself. How do you explain that? And as far as democratic norms are concerned, if he cites the example of emergency, it was Indira Gandhi only who went for the elections, who apologized for the emergency circumstances. One can always indict somebody's, one can always pass strictures against anybody. But one has to keep in mind that that point of time, after 25 years of independence, democracy was in the process of evolving. It was getting matured. What was right today cannot be termed as, what is wrong today cannot be termed as, you know, at that point of time. Comparisons are always odious. And so, at this point of time, we are a matured democracy, and democratic institutions needs to be strengthened. Not on the contrary,
I will end on
they are being weakened and used for their own petty interests.
Anand, 20 seconds, only 20 seconds.
Thank you. To my dear friend Bansalji, just give me 3 institutions, democratic institutions, Bansalji, that have been killed today that were alive in 2014. Just 3.
In 2014 election commission was very much. Now the appointment of election commission chief justice has been, name has been omitted from that committee. What was the reason behind that? Can you explain that? Can you explain that?
Shall I?
Okay, I'm out of time. This can go back and forth between two very, very well-spoken commentators here on India Matters, but only for lack of time, I'll have to end it. Vivek Bansal, Anand Ranganathan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being with me on discussion number 1 on India Matters tonight.